Well, welcome back to Krown's Cave, another secretive Twitch stream to end out the day once again as I search for my words. For whatever reason, been having trouble actually finding my words today, but you know what? We have a lot to talk about. I'd really like to follow up from this morning's video as we're actually seeing what I was looking for to happen over the next 24 hours really happen, about the next 2 hours after the stream, which, hey, fair enough, man. At the end of the day, time analysis, not something that I feel all that comfortable with, but price analysis, that's another story, and we are starting to hit some pretty major areas relatively soon, so I want to cover those, talk about the next sort of ideas. For full disclosure, I did take a long position based off of what we saw during this morning's live stream video. I actually did take position off the same area that we spoke about 10,150. For a little bit of a short-term trade, and we'll talk about what I'm looking for to kind of hold on to this for a little bit more long time. So with all that said, as always, I do want to wish you well. I want to wish you a very happy and healthy, profitable, and relaxing, and of course, as always, the best and the happiest of the happiest as well on this Thursday. I believe it's Thursday at least. It's Thursday or Wednesday, whatever fucking day it is. Hey, doesn't matter what fucking day it is. It's all the same shit anyways, man. We're just doing rotations around the sun. Anyways, with all that said, let's get into the live stream right now and waste no more time. Boom. Beam me up, baby. There it is. Bitcoin on the daily, as you can see, and actually looking pretty damn good right here. So this is a phenomenal response, what we're seeing thus far, assuming that we actually do close here or higher by end of day. However, with about an hour and 20 minutes to go, I would imagine that's basically anywhere above about 10,200. And I do think that this bounce gets sustained for at least another couple of days, most likely. As you can see right here, Bitcoin has headed up, moved to whatever word you want to look for, has migrated towards our next major target, the 10.5-ish region. Like I said, I wasn't necessarily looking for this to happen immediately. I was kind of saying over the next 24 hours, but hey, man, the fact that it happened sooner rather than later is actually a testament to the strength of this bounce right now. And assuming that we actually, again, making an assumption here, which I think is a little bit safe here, that we close above about 10.2-ish region, then we can look at this as as basically a confirmed local low. It's technically not fully confirmed just yet. We want to see continuation, but a nice massive hammer dildo to the tune of literally over 10% on a single day, over 11% actually. Pretty damn good. Pretty damn convincing for myself, and I would say that if this is going to be considered a local low, then we can look at our oscillators here. You can see very easily that the daily RSI is printing some hidden bullish divergence here. So how far does our hidden bullish divergence take? Well, I think the easy target was already kind of had at about 10.5. We got actually we didn't quite get there yet, so still very much in the books. But I would say that it actually does open up the doors for a test a little bit higher, like 10.8 or anywhere around wherever the yellow 20 month exponential average is, which is 10.850, 10.900. So that's going to be kind of like the next level, so to speak. But more importantly, let's go down to the lower time frames and talk about what's going on right and over here. So here's essentially how I look at the lower time frames right now. Bitcoin obviously got the big wick off of our very low blue box right and over here. That was really the play. Unfortunately, I was sleeping, but for those of you who are awake, well, hey, hopefully you remembered the blue box and took a nice trade there, because you're up about actually you're up quite literally about $1,000 right now. Not bad at all. But more importantly, if you did miss that trade and you took the one from, if you took the same trade that I took from the live stream with this move right above the 10,150-ish region right here, this lower end of that resistance, then I would be, I'm happy holding this position as long as we're above about 10,200, 10,250-ish region. I do think that Bitcoin, gets another test up and officially tests the 4-hour 200 simple moving average, which is right around here, about 10,550, which is confluent with our daily 50 exponential moving average, and also basically the last major breakdown. Remember, for the past 2 weeks, I was talking about this trade idea between, basically off of the 4-hour 200 simple moving average, this white one right in over here, and then the 4-hour 200 exponential moving average, this purple one right in over here. Just making sure that my mic is working. Okay, good. Okay, good. Awesome, man. There we go. Anyways, I would say that because that was such a massive pivot on price action for myself, if Bitcoin could actually get back above this region, which is likely going to be confluent with the daily 50 exponential moving average, and confirm above there, not just wick above there, but confirm above there, I would actually be looking to hold this long position for a more medium-term time frame trade. My bias is essentially neutral on the formation, on the lower to medium time frames, as long as we're below 10,600 and above about 9, what do we want to call it, like 9, 8, I'd say. As long as we're kind of caught within that region, I'm more neutral than anything and just looking for short-term trades. However, if Bitcoin can get back above this region, I would be happy to have once again a bullish bias in the intermediate timeframes and looking for a move. Like we said, the next target is going to be somewhere around the daily 21, which is going to be the top side of this blue box territory, essentially about 10.9. So I really like the confluences here. You can see kind of like the path forwards. If Bitcoin is going to take that next leg up, that's essentially what we want to see. But you can see that there's plenty of resistances staring us right in the face in this region. So it's going to be, it's likely to be a slow trudge. But I would say with the advent of the way that we've reacted today, that's pretty damn, it's pretty damn encouraging, actually. I do like what I see overall. And I do think that my personal opinion is that the bounce gets carried upwards and onwards. Of course, I don't trade my opinion. I trade technical analysis, but the technicals are actually kind of lining up with this. We see many things going on right here with the lower time frames. We're actually finally seeing them confirmed. Well, we saw them confirmed during this morning's video, and now we're just seeing the fall through from it. So again, this is why patience is such a fucking important part of the game. Going over here to our lower time frames, we saw all the lower time frame oscillators turn it around the same time, right around the actual low, or about a few bucks off the low. So here's your 4-hour Stokes turning back up to the upside. We do see a trend line forming here, though, so that is something to be aware of. That's coming in right at the edge of the bearish control zone, so keep your eyes on that. If you do see any sort of drama being had around this region, probably going to be a good short-term lower time frame high. Anyways, going down to the 3-hour, you can see that we're likely going to be up as well. Actually looking pretty damn good here, looking strong, getting out of the bearish control zone. 2-hour, same sort of thing, and then of course hourly is going to be up there as well. So we see all these guys turning around at the same time, and this is what I've been saying for the past few days. Until we actually get them all turning at the same time, I wouldn't be front running that decision, because as you saw for the last like 24 hours, not even 24 hours, like 48 hours, they were damn close riding over here, but close but no cigar, and then boom, down $500. Close again, riding over here as I try to set up during this little consolidation, no confirmation, and then boom, down again, another $500, $600. So again, this is this is a grade A fucking reminder to always be waiting for those, to most importantly not front run those signals and wait for full on confirmation with those. Even if it really looks like it's going to turn, that is it's still not confirmed until it is confirmed, unfortunately. And of course, can you have a little bit of patience when you're looking at a $1,000 move done in the course of literally less than one day? Probably yes. Anyways, the reason why this is also relevant is because we're seeing this, we're likely to see this carry on over into our higher time frames. So 4 through 1 hour, all the lower time frames, that's basically what I consider like all the lower time frames. They're all headed up right now, and we see resistance kind of staring us right in the eye, right around about 10,550 to 10,600, we'll call it. If we go over here to the 12-hour, however, we do see that the 12-hour did come all the way down to the purple 200 exponential moving average, pretty damn nice. Which historically speaking, we don't really have too much history of playing off it, but the first test down around to it likely going to be a buy. Obviously, just the top side of our lower blue box territory to begin with, and then more importantly, looking at our oscillators right now on the 12-hour, we do see looking at structure first and foremost, we do see a confirmed hammer dildo right here, heavy volume plus follow through. That's exactly what you want to see, man. That's confirmed local low right there as far as the 12-hour goes. Do I want to see the daily come next? Yes, but one thing at a time, right? And it's really just a matter of time on this one. I shouldn't say that. No, it's never a matter of time. I want to see full on confirmation, but it's gonna naturally take time when we're talking about a daily. It's 2x the time frame of a 12-hour, of course. Anyways, looking at our oscillators right here, we do see 12-hour Stokes looking like they want to cross the upside. This is technically not confirmed right now. This will be confirmed if we close anywhere here or higher, or anywhere above about 10.2. We'll actually see these guys cross the upside. At the end of the hour, sorry, not at the end of this hour, but at the end of next hour. It's 5:49 on my clock. I'm in Chicago right now, so I am so we're about 1 hour and 11 minutes away from the daily total close. So yeah, if we do get this next closure anywhere here or higher, and like I said, basically anywhere above like 10.2, I would be looking for this cross the upside. And look at how good the 12-hour Stokes have been. Very rarely do we actually get fake outs on this one. In fact, it's almost like a little bit of a cheat code recently. You do see the last time that we had a cross the upside from this region was 28th of July. That was coming out of this base right on over here. Like looks pretty familiar, right? The time before that was coming out of this, was in this area right on over here, the 16th of July, coming out of this base. Doesn't that look similar as well? And then the time before that, was right on over here on the 2nd of July, and that was coming out of this base right on over here. So all these were pretty damn massive moves. Now, make no mistake about it, this is still one massive consolidation in the way that I look at it. Volume signature is falling off left to right. We see a nice orderly consolidation here, and we do see historical volatility volatility percentile, essentially downtrending, especially on the higher time frames, daily most notably. But we do see the same sort of activity on the 12-hour. Regardless of that fact, it would say that the greater picture, one massive consolidation. We're coming down to the low side of the range, looking at our momentum oscillators. They're starting to turn around once again, just like we did right on over here on the 28th of July low, and then right on over here on the 16th of July low, and then right on over here on that first major step down low on July 2nd. So I really do actually like how things are kind of setting up right here. If I'm giving my full on opinion, I think that Bitcoin's going to actually, going to actually give a legitimate test up to the 10.6-ish region. I actually do think that it takes it out to the upside. But hey, like I said, I don't trade my opinion. I trade technical analysis. If we take out that area, I'm happy to hold my longs for a little bit longer. If we do reject from that area, I'll be happy to take profits. And that's really all it comes down to right now. No more complicated than that. Really just a game of waiting right now as Bitcoin kind of resolves itself. But I do think that there are a few more positive signs than not. Looking over here on the crypto fear and greed index, we do see a 13 read right now, which is certainly on the higher, or sorry, not on the higher side, certainly on the lower side. In fact, the second lowest that we've seen this year thus far, only followed up by yesterday, which was like an 11 read right on over here, as you can see. And this is like the same area that we'd come to find our lows during the 2018 bear market, right? So when you're looking at a secondary type confirmation, or sorry, like a secondary indicator like this, the crypto fear and greed index, it's not a primary type thing to consider, but it is like a second or tertiary type consideration here. And we do see a nice, kind of setup, more importantly. Just like in the bear market, the spikes to the upside were quickly faded away. In a more upwards market right over here, I'd imagine that if we are going to really carry this one upwards and onwards, we do want to see this actually have a massive leg up on the next tick, and that's going to likely be confluent with price action. So we want to see them move one and the same, essentially. That's what it really comes down to. Again, no more complicated than that. Pretty damn simple. And more importantly, this area is an area of hot contention to begin with as well, just because when we were in an overall bear market, Bitcoin would come down to this area and actually spend like a month at a time in this region and put in the lows. Now, to be fair, during the bear market, Bitcoin would get comfortable in this region. It'd actually it'd get in right on over here and then continue dumping, right? But at the current moment in time, we see it kind of get in this region, and so far it's just been stuck in the mud a little bit. We haven't really got any sort of continuations to the downside. And more importantly, if we do get this next leg up, not this next level up, but if we even just take out like 10.6 to the upside, 10.550, no matter which one you want to call it, basically the same to me, then I would be looking for that to follow through. And then we're going to see underlying market dynamics match up with tentacles. That's usually, usually a pretty damn good thing. Anyways, do we see hidden bullish divergence on the 12-hour RSI as well? No, we do not. We actually do not. It's only on the daily, actually. Daily certainly does have it. Other time frames do not. Of course, I think it's worth mentioning that daily historical volatility percentile really kind of lining up with this whole thing being one consolidation. So I do think that the bears who are telling you that this thing's going to break down to like 7,000 and the bulls who are telling you that this thing is going to 15,000 this week, they're both wrong. It's been the same fucking story for the last, how long? It's been the same fucking story for the last... 3 weeks. We're just in a range. We're just in a fucking range, man. Am I biased in this range? I'd like to say that I'm not biased in this range. I want to have but intrinsically, I do have an upwards bias here just because the overall trend has been to the upside, but that's macro trend, right? When we're going sideways, it doesn't really help to know that. I mean, if you're a more long-term investor, then yeah, it's relevant, right? But for the most part, I believe most people here are traders, myself included, and it's just it's like you can't trade for something that hasn't happened already, right? And more importantly, for myself as a trader, I don't really take that next major trade to the upside until we really take out like 12.4 to the upside right on over here. Even then, it's going to be a little bit left of center. I would really like to see like 12.6 taken out to the upside. Actually, that's where I start to feel a lot more confident. But here's kind of how the higher time frames are shaping up right now. Keep in mind, the weekly is the big one for me. As it stands right now, now we're kind of like postulating forwards, but keep in mind that CMEs and GBTC do close tomorrow and will close their weeklies tomorrow, whereas spot prices will have to wait until Sunday, 8 p.m. Eastern time. But the point is that on those corollaries like GBTC and CMEs, we should get some good insight into where spot's going to close, because they're more or less going to be related. Even though spot does trade on the weekends and those guys don't, for more or less, you'll notice that Bitcoin gets kind of stuck in a range and usually fades whatever move that it did have, if it does have a move, on the weekend late on Sunday, typically once CMEs open back up again. Anyways, my point is right here, as it shapes up right now, we still see these rise and bottoms, but I would say that the next big obvious signal is going to be wherever we kind of land upon the red 10-cent moving average on the weekly. Do we close above or below it? And it's currently coming in around where? 10.550, baby. 10.5 fucking 50. So get ready for that one, because we see so much lining up in that region. I do want to reiterate this. While my opinion is kind of biased to the upside, I would not, as a trader, I would not really be wanting to hold any of these positions as long as Bitcoin's below that level, even on the lower time frame, like a 4-hour close. If we can regain it on a 4-hour close, that would make me a lot more confident to actually hold those positions and be justified in that, in that upside bias. But for right now, technically speaking, as a trader, should be more neutral and should be more quick to take profits. Anyways, if Bitcoin can close this next weekly above the red 10 symbol, which keep in mind that tomorrow we have CMEs closing and GBTC closing. So if these guys close anywhere above that level, which for CME is going to be 10.750, actually is going to be the same sort of area, then I would say that that's likely going to lead us up into actually getting into looking at this as an actual bear trap right now. But of course, that's still days away. We can't really say that right now. It's too aggressive to say something like that at the current moment in time. I do want to represent the bearish case as well, though. Bears certainly do have a lot of things in their favor. We see weekly bearish divergence on the RSI, getting kicked out of the bullish control zone and getting rejected by the exponential along the way as well. Don't like that. Typically, I do see a test down the yellow 20 exponential moving average once we get once we get a signature like that. Not only that, but weekly Stokes are still to the downside. They are weak to the downside, to be fair, and they are kind of at the edge of the bullish control zone. We don't necessarily see them turning around right now, but it is a consideration to make. And technically, they are still down, so that would certainly be on the more bearish side. And of course, the biggest one that matters to me right now is looking at both the Joule and the exponentials right here. Well, not the exponentials, but both the red 10 simple and the yellow 21. And first and foremost, it goes without saying, generally speaking, regardless of what market you're in, the yellow 20 exponential moving average on the weekly is like your stock standard target in a sense for a healthy retracement, in your bull markets and a good place to be a seller on your bear market. So you can see, and Bitcoin has a damn good history of kind of playing off these guys pretty much throughout the whole history of its existence. You do see that in 2019 we have not tested it as of right now. We've come kind of close, but I would still say that this is very much untested. We're still about $1,000 away from the actual moving average itself. More importantly, though, we do see some riding over here with the weekly Joule. We've seen this signature, and I know I've talked about this too many fucking times, but I think it's worthwhile to bring up. I don't want to be too one-sided here. The weekly Joule is showing this very specific signature where we get the light blue oscillator in the critical zone above the 80 marker. We get red flash in the background, they get a negative slope on that same light blue oscillator, and then in most cases, actually, we cross the pink slower moving oscillator along the way. And each and every time that we've done that in Bitcoin's history, we come down and test around the yellow 21 exponential moving average. I'm not going to go through all these, but you can kind of just line them up with your own eye, and I'll trust you to do that yourself. But basically, they typically test them actually relatively soon, like within a few weeks. There's only a couple examples where it actually takes some time. This one out here, this one over here stands out in June 2017, and then obviously the ultimate high at 20,000 in December 2017 as well. Both kind of standing out as taking about 2.5 months to actually come down and test the 21, which would be a little bit more analogous to what we're seeing in present times during what month is this? August of 2019 now. But we have the same sort of signature going on right here. So there certainly are things in the court for the bears right now. But if we regain 10.6, I would say that the bearish case is at least from like an immediate standpoint is greatly diminished. If Bitcoin can reclaim that level and like close some higher level diddles above there, especially if Bitcoin can close a daily diddle back above the I was just about to say the green 50, which is going to be right around 10.5, I think 10.550. It's right overhead. It's officially 10.510 on stamp. If Bitcoin can close back above there, I'd say that would be pretty damn good for a move back up to test in the lower 11,000s. But right now, have to take it one day at a time. And of course, today we're probably not going to close above it today. Then again, I mean, still, usually you do see some drama in the last hour of to close. And we're about at that time right now. I'm looking at my clock, and we're literally 1 hour away from closure now. But assuming that we don't close above it, it's not a death sentence or anything like that. It's likely to take a couple days. But that's what I'd be looking for coming into tomorrow. So just keep that in the back of your mind. Of course, so if if you do want to make a more expedited decision, I would say look at a 4-hour. If a 4-hour starts, if we see 4-hour dildo start closing above the white 200 simple, and especially if they start opening and closing above it, which also is kind of confluent with the yellow 21 right here, then I'd be looking, I'd be looking for that to more or less happen tomorrow. If we have that happen, then I'd be looking for the daily to follow through tomorrow, to be 100% clear. Looking at this though right here, I do think that our first test into this region probably going to get knocked back. So if you are looking to be a scalper on a short-term time frame, I probably wouldn't mind selling a little bit here. In fact, I'll be selling a little bit of my longs here, of course, as well, just because it is, it's good practice to take some profits. Even though personally speaking, I do think that this one does continue upwards and onwards. Let's go check out our other higher time frames. I forgot to check out the 2-day. 2-day is going to be closing today, I believe. Yes. No, it's not closing today. Is it closing today? Hold on. It's the 15th and it closes the 17th. Okay, fair enough. It does not close today. That's right. We were looking at it yesterday, and it was closing yesterday, and I said if it closes down below the yellow 21, bad, and that was kind of bad. It's kind of fucking bad right there. Anyways, if we can close the 2-day dildo anywhere, any way like this coming into tomorrow, I'd say that would also look damn good. You do see that the green 50 exponential moving average actually is a pretty damn good kind of moniker for what sort of phase we're in. I'm gonna take everything off except for that guy, and so we can kind of just back test it right now. But you do see that Bitcoin, generally likes to play off it on these highs right over here, and during the bull market, while it does wick below sometimes, for the most part it's holding it up as more of like a regression line on the actual more extreme lows, as you can see. So it does have some validity. What's up, G-Man H? How you doing, man? Welcome to Twitch, my friend. But yeah, having a nice wick off this region thus far, I would say is also generally an okay signal. I'm curious about the 2-day Stokes right now, though. I remember they were crossing to the downside early this morning, and they are actually still crossing the downside. We still have about another 24, or I suppose 25 hours until we see the 2-day dildo close. But if we actually do see them confirm to the downside, that would be a little bit concerning. It would be a little bit concerning because this would also be interpreted as a rejection of the bullish control zone. But we'll get to that if it does happen. For now, I do think that the lower time frames are actually going to take precedence here, as I said during this morning's live stream. Anyways, going over here to the 3-day and actually putting all these babies back on. I think the 21 is kind of holding us up right now, and yes, indeed it is. I'm curious if the 3-day is closing today. I think it might be. Let's double check this right now. It is. No, it's actually going to be tomorrow as well. Wow, that's strange. Anyways, very rarely do you see the 2-day and the 3-day actually line up with each other as far as like the closing. Well, I guess a couple times a week. Anyways, yeah, if the 3-day closes above the yellow 21, I'd say overall fine. It's going to be considered a bull wick if that does happen, but we have to wait another day. It's just not that helpful right now. We don't see the 2-day or 3-day closing today, so whatever I say in the next 24 hours, it's just not helpful until it's like a legitimate consideration on that same daily dildo close. For now, it would look okay, but like I said, too early to really judge it. Looking at our 3-day oscillators, we still see 3-day Stokes actually pretty damn pointed north right there. I do like that. Would be a little more on the positive side. 3-day RSI, more or less consolidation, telling us what we already know essentially. And do we have anything else here? Is a 3-day Joule perhaps lining up for a sell? This could be nasty if this actually does line up for a sell. I don't think it does, but again, it's still, even if that does happen, it'd still be about a week away for it to even happen. For now, Bitcoin rallying in lower time frames. I do think that it's going to give a legitimate try higher here. Hourly looking pretty damn good, just flagging out, and then boom, not giving anyone a second chance. So I want to talk about this price action here specifically for a second. So the reason why I'm also a little bit more biased to the upside after seeing something like this is a really good signature when you see price action like this. When you see a nice move up off the lows, this one obviously very aggressive on heavy volume, especially when your volatility is going to be expanding during these times, which you see down around here. But more importantly, after that first major move. After this first major move, this is ingredient number one. The next ingredient is the most important. We want to see a quick consolidation and then boom, another move to the upside immediately again. Why is this? Because when you do put in major lows, you want the big market movers know that everyone's looking at the same goddamn thing. We're pretty much all on the same playing field for the most part. I don't think that there's too many like real retailers in this market, at this point in time. But more importantly, when you have a signature like this, it shows you that the market movers are not giving someone a second chance, and that's exactly what you want to see when you're coming off of major pivots on the market, whether it be to the upside or the downside. For example, on our last major high, I think we put it in like somewhere right around 14,000. You'll notice that Bitcoin has a quick move up. and then it comes down, and then it tries to go up again, but it gets nowhere near and immediately moves back down and starts trending to the downside. When that shit happens extremely fast, that's a damn good sign that that we're going to be heading that direction for an actual sustained trend. And you see the same thing right on over here. Bitcoin pops up, pretty damn good move, about 10% move to the upside, consolidates very, very quickly, doesn't give shorts a second chance to get out, and doesn't give like shy bulls a second chance to get in, and then boom, up again. And that's exactly what you want to see. So regardless of that fact, while that would be would be a good thing from like a market dynamics type standpoint, I would still say that it's still a pressure on mentality as long as Bitcoin's below the 4-hour 200 simple moving average right on over here. I do think that it's going to spend some time probably between the 200 simple and the blue 3/7 exponential moving average, creating a range between 10.3 and 10.550, we'll call it. And whichever way it breaks that range is likely going to be our next big direction. I do think that it breaks to the upside here, and I do think that we probably test back up towards 10.8, 10.9, or what did I say earlier? I think maybe 11, wherever the daily 21 is. That's currently coming in around 10.9. Again, not going to happen at the snap of fingers, but generally speaking, well, if we do confirm this daily the way that it is, I do want to remind myself the biggest occurrence that we have right here is going to be this hidden bullish divergence actually confirmed. Again, RSI making lower lows, price action making higher lows, so bears are essentially using more in the overall general context of an uptrend. By the way, key point of that, don't forget that part. But looking at that would make me think that we do test a little bit more into the middle side of the range, which is going to be somewhere typically around your yellow 21 exponential moving average, coming from this sort of posturing. Anyways, okay, all right. I'm just reading some of the comments right now. Fear My Game says, Eric, if the Chinese 70,000 Bitcoin Ponzi dumped kind of fucked up all the TA. I honestly, man, I don't want to make excuses for my TA. With regards to like a news article, those sorts of things, like those news articles don't come out the fucking second that actually happens, right? So people are making decisions beforehand, and I'd say, hey man, at the end of the day, I'd rather just say that my technical analysis was wrong in making some of those calls. It was just, there's going to be a margin of error. We're talking about statistics over a long period of time. There's going to be some that just don't work out. I think it's more, I think it's more liberating as a trader to just say, hey, that one just went wrong, than to blame it perhaps on the news, because it doesn't change the result, man. It doesn't change the result. At the end of the day, I know, I've found in my own experience that if I just keep on doing the same actions, well, not literally the same actions, but keep on following the same process, perhaps is a better turn of phrase, over time, that's what's going to lead to success, rather than just treating a one-off, as an outlier, as a news piece. Now, at the end of the day, man, it's baked into the strategy. It happens, man. It fucking happens. But yeah, it was actually more than 70,000 Bitcoin, apparently, from what those guys scammed. I think it was like 200,000 Bitcoin was the final consensus, which is just that's astronomical, man. I mean, how the fuck do these guys steal so much fucking money? Like it always makes you wonder, who the fuck is watching? No one's watching. No one's fucking watching. It's so strange, man. It's so fucking strange. Anyways, I'm just reading through some of the comments right now. G-Man says, thanks for the welcome, Krown, my man. Hey man, you're more than welcome, my friend. Do you think Bitcoin needs to break the range sooner or later, or can it continue like this? The sooner that it breaks, it would imply more healthiness to the upside. If it takes more time, it's not necessarily a death sentence, but it would start to suggest the problem. What you don't want to see here, if you want to be bullish on Bitcoin, is you don't want to see a rejection right here around 10,550, and then it come back down and then lose 10,300. If that happens, this is gonna turn ugly very fucking fast. If that happens, you're probably gonna see a move back down to the low side of the range at like 9.6, and it's probably gonna break at that point in time. If Bitcoin comes back down to the low side of the range, I think that it likely breaks. I think they've kind of worn out our welcome in the greater range as far as the lows go. We want to see these rising lows continue onwards and upwards here. Now that also brings me to another point, just kind of like an unrelated type thing. I've been seeing a lot of people try to what's the word that I'm looking for? They've been trying to basically make a comparison between this price action that you see right here on the screen and what's it called, and basically like 2018, right, when the last bear market started. I think that is wildly inaccurate. We have a completely different setup right over here. You can see Bitcoin's making higher lows right here, and really just riding the trend line, and you can see that the overall feeling of this is a consolidation. It's not necessarily distribution right here. If we go back to 2018, you'll see obvious markers of distribution. You see the volume volume, how it kind of rises on the actual selling. Well, there, there's your obvious answer. Not only that, but we were making lower lows the whole way through. We also made some higher lows, lower highs as well, which we did do right on over here. But we are making higher lows at the same point in time, so it's more neutral than this obvious bearishness right on over here. This one, I think, completely different, especially coming off of this parabolic run, which, to be fair, we actually did go parabolic here. I mean, this was a pretty intense move to the upside, but over the long period of time, and kind of just looking at the volume signature, which is the most important thing when talking about distribution. 2018 was fucking obvious. This area right on over here, no, this has more signatures of this being a consolidation, especially looking at the volume on this last, what is likely to be a hammer dildo. Again, closing still in about 51 minutes. And then it'll be confirmed. I'd say that's actually a little bit more of a positive sign. I'm curious how the Trollinger bands are doing right now. I'm going to imagine that we are still below the median band. Yeah, and look at that. The median band's coming in right around 10,750. So, another consideration for potential target within this region. But as far as anything else goes, I'm actually not getting too much off this right now. Here's what the weekly looks like. Weekly, not really giving us too much either. I'm just kind of hanging in this range right here. Again, not too insightful right there. I am curious what the volume profile does show right now. I'd imagine that on the lower time frames, we should see the volume profile line up with all the major pivots that we just spoke about. So let's bring it up right here, and let's just add validity to this. We see the point of control coming in right around actually 11.3. Let's zoom in a little bit. Let's actually get in the price action that we want to look at. Right around here. Yeah, so you do, okay, perfect, fucking perfect. So you see this higher value node right here. This one could just as easily be the point of control. It's irrelevant where TradingView decides it. We see obvious activity in this region, right? And that is coming in where? Well, you can just zoom it out, and you can see that that's exactly where the 4-hour 200 simple is. So it's just a good area to kind of manage that intermediary bias from. If we get back above there, you can see that there's actually very little stopping Bitcoin from getting back up above 11,000. Although I would say that 11.9 was likely to be a point of combat, I suppose. However, this would be suggesting that we actually do have a little bit of clear skies back into the lower 11s, like 11.3, 11.4 region. By the same token, if Bitcoin does get rejected here at about 10.6, very likely to come all the way back down to 10,000. Even though I did say that 10.3 is a support, I do think that on the very low timeframes, you're very likely to actually see that again, just because Bitcoin's unlikely to just blast through here. I think this next test into this region is going to get knocked back, and then we'll see if this base actually holds up at around 10.3. I think that's really the biggest pieces of price action that I have my eyes on right now coming into tomorrow on Friday, essentially. And remember, Friday is not only just a big day for all of the correlates of Bitcoin to close down for the week, the CMEs and GBTC, but also for traditional markets, which I do believe that Bitcoin is correlated with. They're all risk on assets. What was I going to say? Oh yeah, we have regular expiration tomorrow. It's the third Thursday of the month, so people are going to have big positions. They're going to be rolling them over. They're going to be seeing all sorts of things. People need to take care of their deltas and whatnot, and that's going to create some price action in the traditional stock market, I'd imagine, which is likely to flow on over into Bitcoin. So let's go check out traditional markets right now and see what they're looking like. I think traditional markets still kind of hanging on to the support trend line right here. I do think that it ultimately does bounce up this area. While I'm not necessarily convinced that the downside drama is done just yet, from like the more medium or long-term perspective, I would say that short-term, this likely does bounce back up, and I'd say target on the bounce maybe like 286.5 to 287 region, and then we'll kind of reassess from there. I'm more concerned with the weekly close at this point. The daily close was okay. You can see it fight for the purple 200 exponential moving average right on over here, and probably good enough for a bounce coming into tomorrow. But remember, tomorrow a very big day, and I'd say any sort of a weekly diddle close on traditional markets again tomorrow below 289, or basically wherever the yellow 21 is, and I'd be looking for this to have continuation coming into next week, likely down to my next major area at around mid to low 270s, and that's where I start to become very, 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 very interested. Now, don't get that wrong. I'm not necessarily saying that it comes down to that price action next week. I'm just saying I'd generally be looking at that area, and probably do make legitimate attempt for that maybe over the next couple weeks. I'd imagine it's really going to come down to the way that this weekly closes. Of course, if it does close back above 289, which hey, if we got like what about a $6 bounce here, which is certainly not out of the question, then yes, I'd be looking for another test back up into the mid 290s, like 294, 295 region, and then and then that actually flipped the script once again. But looking at the higher time frames here, it does, we are still above all major moving averages on a monthly here, so I do think it's a little bit premature to really be calling anything. The thing that I'm most comfortable with calling right now is basically the weekly. If we close below there, then yeah, I'm looking for continuation of the downside, probably mid 270s ultimately. Whether that happens in the next week or the next couple weeks doesn't really matter, man. But more importantly, likely to be correlated a little bit with Bitcoin, as we do see Bitcoin and traditional markets kind of moving together during these more extreme moves, not during like the day-to-day bullshit, even though they are kind of they are actually kind of correlated right now. If we pull up the correlation coefficient, you will see a positive correlation right now, but the correlation is diminishing over time. Where are you, Bali? There you are, Bali. Putting this on right here. Jesus Christ, my voice is going into the shitter right now. But looking at the weekly, you do see that it actually is a positive correlation, but it's downtrending right now. It's downtrending over time. So the correlation is weakening. But we do see these guys play out the same way during these more intense moves. More importantly, if we go over here to gold, gold is completely the opposite right now. So gold is actually bifurcating from traditional markets. Obviously, that's typically what we see. But what is a little bit surprising is to see gold and Bitcoin not operating as much together. Now, here's the thing: the correlation coefficient is actually going to show you a massively positive correlation, which I think is true, but on a day-to-day basis, does it actually play out like that? No, and I do think that gold is pretty well set up here. I do think I would still be bullish on gold. That's the thing. So the correlation is strong, but we're not seeing Bitcoin really follow through in the more immediate parts. So what would that likely line up for? Well, I would have to go with the former trend and say that this is more likely to suggest that any sort of bullishness in gold, any perceived bullishness in gold, is likely to fall on over into Bitcoin as well. I'll still give it that until we get an obvious signal that that's not what's happening. But for now, we don't necessarily have that, and it's still more or less okay. It's just kind of annoying for us, trading the daily right now and wanting to figure it out that way. It's naturally going to take its time, essentially. Anyways, looking at the daily right here, we did close above that critical level. I think it was yesterday that we spoke about this. Yeah, about 1510. And I do believe that we're setting up for continuation here up until this next blue box territory, which is, holy fucking moly, that's way above. It's all the way over here at around 1575 in this block territory, 1575 to 1615. Now, here's the thing. If I take everything off and I just look at the, I was going to say if I just look at the volume profile, I disagree. No, the volume profile agrees. You do see a little bit of interest done around 1590-ish region, literally in the middle of that blue box territory. So I do think that we have some more upside here. And higher time frames still look good to me. I mean, the monthly looks phenomenal here. But more importantly, the lower time frame is going to give, the lower time frames look good, but the lower time frame is probably going to have, I'd imagine, probably going to have a pushback somewhere around that blue box territory. And that's where I'd be looking for the first major consolidation coming off of this run. But don't get me wrong, higher term time frame, still very much healthy, but I would be looking for a more prolonged sideways consolidation after hitting that region, kind of similar to what we're seeing on Bitcoin right now for the past 3-4 weeks, stuck in this range between about 9 to 13,000. Anyways, can't see ticker symbols on Twitch. Really? What's going on there? That'll be kind of strange. Let me actually. Oh, it's because the Twitch symbol's right in the face there, huh? I wonder if I can switch that around, man. Anyways, let's see. Just reading some comments right now. Just want to get around to this. Krown said, "Hey, I see what you did there. Thanks for all the content, Krown. Great upbeat feel and energy to the show every day, and you've inspired me to learn about the Stokes. Oh, hey, there you go, man. Yes, there's an indicator for fucking everything, man. I like the Stokes because it works best with my strategy because I'm mostly a support and resistance trader with a few tricks and tips up my sleeve and knowledge of some options. So the Stokes really help kind of well round my strategy with that and speak a lot to it. Anyways, actually back to Bitcoin right now because Bitcoin's coming back down to 10.3 low. I do want to see this area hold up. We do not want to see this area get violated here. If Bitcoin is going to maintain its more healthy posturing. For now, though, still okay. And we got 42 minutes and 2 seconds left till the daily will close. But assuming that this does not completely erase this last prior green dildo, I think that will be okay. But then again, can't make assumptions in a market like this, man. This thing will fucking humble you as fast as it can. Anyways, let's see. Hi, could you please add the pair you're looking at in the background in TradingView? It actually is showing there. It's just you can't really see it. Yeah, on Twitch you can't really see it all that well. I can make it, I can make it more visible, but then I think it's just fucking annoying. If you're wondering which pair we're looking at, the best way to do that is actually to look at this area right here. Or sorry, this area right here. If you see where my mouse is, but then I see that the latest price is actually covering up just a little bit. I can move this down right there. There we go. And now you can see, and you got the symbol right here, and then time frame up, up at the top left. I hear you, man. I fucking hear you. Retesting the 50 EMA on the 1 hour. The 50 EMA on the 1 hour is like nowhere near price action right now. That's kind of where the more obvious resistance is for like the medium time frames in my experience, or sorry, in my opinion. I think that we do test a little bit lower here first and foremost. It looks like we're gonna get front ran coming into the daily little close, but I do want to. Oh, sorry, this is the 2 hour right now. Let's go to an hourly. So yes. Oh, okay. You said testing the 50 on the hour. Yes, you are correct. Yeah, sorry, I was looking at a 2 hour. I for whatever reason I thought I was looking at an hourly right now, right there. But yes, you are correct on that one. Are we coming back down to test it? I mean, it's looking a little bit weaker here, to be fair. Have we taken up the prior low? Yes, we did, by just a few bucks, but that is enough. And more importantly, we do see historical volatility percentile kind of redlining right here, which suggests that on the very low time frames we're going to go a little bit sideways for some time. But remember, that's low time frame bullshit. Low time frames, they switch around a million goddamn times per day, really. Anyways, okay, so we've looked at all of that. I think we covered all of that well enough. Let's go check out how the other two top shitcoins are doing. Mrs. Litecoin first, ladies first, as always. We are gentlemen here with good old Bitcoin, and Mrs. Litecoin putting that same sort of hammer dildo right now. So I do think at the very least Mrs. Litecoin gets to trade a little bit sideways, likely going to benefit from any sort of perceived, any sort of upwards momentum on Bitcoin. But remember, if Bitcoin does get rejected from this next level, it will be not doubly as bad, but it'll be perceived in a more emotional way by most altcoins, Litecoin included, and so that's why this next sort of piece in the more intermediary time frames at that 10,550 to 10,600ish region is so fucking important. If Bitcoin does get rejected there, we're going to see a lot of alts really break down into the abyss, the shitcoin abyss, really. I mean, Jesus Christ, man, the shitcoin gutter is endless, really. But for now, I do think that this does, I do think that this does lead a little bit higher, just with the general market, essentially. Although, looking at the 4 hour right here, I mean, Mrs. Litecoin's weak, man. She's fucking weak, even in this region right here. I mean, this is not good. Looking at 12 hour, weak again. Fucking weak, man. Fucking weak. This is a very weak response. But again, if Bitcoin moves up, you're likely to see Mrs. Litecoin move up. I'd say a general target, if Mrs. Litecoin can get above this pivot right here at about 70, let's call it just 79, then I'd be looking at a target right around here. Just very, very simple. Nothing too flashy right there. Just 80 or about 82.5 to 83 bucks essentially. But really going to depend on Bitcoin. I don't really trust Litecoin to make this move on her own. And more importantly, the higher time frames on a lot of these altcoins are so fucking bad. So fucking bad. I mean, Jesus fucking Christ, man. Get them over here now. Now. We need them now. It's just terrible, just fucking terrible. Shitcoin police are going to be on full patrol if this gets any worse. I mean, if Mrs. Litecoin closes anywhere below 74 bucks end of weekend, this could get a lot nastier. Now, I'm not necessarily looking for that to happen, though. To be fair, I'm actually really not looking for that to happen. But hey, at the end of the day, man, if it does happen, well, have to adjust to the market, and I'd be getting massively bearish based off that, really. But going back down to the daily, like I said, gonna mostly be playing off of Bitcoin, although it would look a little bit more weak here in comparison. Going over to our brother, Mr. Buterol, same sort of thing here. Closing the daily little below the 200 simple. I mean, this one's even worse, really. Shit. I mean, we're almost in danger of getting another death cross on the daily for Mr. Buterol with the exponentials. That's a green 50 inching its way closer to the purple 200 exponential moving average right on over here. If this fails to get back above about 220 in the next, I'd say next week, we're going to get that death cross, and that's going to be the impetus for sending this thing much, much lower. But again, that's a week away, man. Technically, we do have a target all the way down here towards 140-ish region based off the flag formation. I'm not so intent on that actually being hit. I'd only say that's going to be hit if we get the death cross confirmed, and that's likely going to take its time. But same thing here as we see on Mrs. Litecoin. Really fucking weak action. Going to be up to Bitcoin to bring it back up. Major resistance right here at around 120. What is this? 196 and a quarter. Basically our last low. So it's coming in right in line with that as well. It's not a good setup, is what it is. But hey, if that would also mean that if Mr. Buteroll does reclaim this level, hey, that would look pretty damn good, and we probably do work our way back up to 220 and beyond. But for right now, pressure certainly is on, and it is very concerning to see a lot of the top a lot of the top amazing altcoins that are going to change this world with their incredible technologies, looking like that. Exactly. Jesus Christ, man. Did I? Oh, I don't even have the volume up that much. Man, I've been getting so many complaints recently. It's very enlightening to see what people are pissed off by. Anyways, yeah, so looking at all this and make sure that I'm actually recording. Okay, we are recording. That's good. And going back on over here. Yeah, most altcoins look in some variation like this. And I mean, what's this kind of shape up into in the greater scheme of things? I mean, it just looks like another lower high. This just looks like another lower high on like a monthly, I'd imagine. Yeah, look at that. Monthly is just another lower. I mean, the monthly looks fucking wrecked. The monthly looks so wrecked. The monthly looks so fucking wrecked. But like I said, if Bitcoin moves up here, they will salvage themselves most likely. That's just typically the trend that we see. But I just want to go through a few more altcoins just to get an idea of what they're doing. Stellar over here. Fucking hell, man. Okay, that was bad. Stellar. Jesus Christ. Next up, 6 cents. And I don't know if we're getting off there either. What else we got? I want to check out Mr. Ripple's nipples. I know a lot of people are interested in this one right now. Ripple on a weekly. If this weekly closes anywhere below 26 cents, oh baby, oh fucking baby, they're gonna be called up to duty right fucking now. But not there just yet. But we did see the big break, I believe, on the daily yesterday. Now, could this be a fake out below this trend line that we've been holding up above for the last year? Perhaps, yes. But it wouldn't be my first interpretation of this. I consider pressure on this one as long as we're below 30 cents. But again, this is what I really struggle with right now in this market. We see Bitcoin looking more or less neutral in the way that I look at it. When we look at the altcoins, they are, for the most part, mega fucking bearish. Which side do we go with? Well, Bitcoin takes precedence, but if all the other altcoins are kind of agreeing with each other and kind of presenting a more uninspired case, we'll call it, then it makes it a lot harder to go. We want to see everything moving together. That's usually what we see in Bitcoin land. It's only been over the last few days where things have kind of looked massively different, but still moving technically in the same direction as each other. I just want to check out a few more, just for my own, knowledge, and perhaps this is useful to other people here as well. We looked at the weekly on what is this? Zcash? Oh my fuck! Jesus Christ. Okay, is that Zcash? Let's go Bcash, Tron Cash, Neocash. Hey, their fucking sirens broke. EOS Cash. EOS? Come on. These police are tired, man. We need some more shitcoin police. These shitcoins are on the loose again. God damn, man. Fucking terrible. Anyways, back onto Bitcoin, man. I think it's time to wrap this bitch up. But looking at Bitcoin right here, does look like he's like he's gonna try to flag out a little bit right here on the lower time frames. But like I said, all eyes are on the daily close right now. Can the daily close? Well, basically anywhere above 10.3. I'd say that we probably get a test up and at the very least test about 10.550 to 10.600. That's where the real drama is. If Bitcoin can get above that level, start closing 4-hour dildos above there, and especially opening and closing above there, and perhaps lead on to a daily dildo close above there tomorrow, that would look good. That would look good enough for me for another test into the low 11,000s, most likely like 11.2, 11.3, sometime over the weekend. But for right now, it's in my opinion, it's best to be neutral as long as we're below, again, this level right here, which was essentially the breakdown from the blue box territory that I was originally targeting. Talking about the addressing the wrong one. Talking about the original golden cross idea with long-term price action in mind. So with this area right on over here, major pivot on the market now. If we do get back above it, even on the lower time frame, like a 4-hour, I think that'd probably be good enough for me to be targeting moves decent amount higher. Like I said, low 11,000s. It's gonna really shape this whole formation up as being one massive consolidation and a healthy consolidation. By the same token, if we get rejected from this region, it's not the end of the world. I think it's actually quite expected to be rejected on your first pass. But if we do head back down below this blue box right here, that would be a big warning signal. Technically, the game ain't over, even if that one breaks. But I would say that that's if you want to be bullish here, you don't want to see this one break. This guy breaking right here at about 10,200, big fucking problems if that happens. We're probably going to come back down and test the low side of this range and even shoot. And at that point in time, I don't think that 9,500 is going to hold up again if we test it again. Just like I don't think 12.3 is gonna hold up again if we test it to the upside. So again, while we're in this range, complete agnosticism from my own end, and really just waiting for resolution of this. I have taken a little bit of profit off my long along the way, and depending upon how we close this next daily, I'll be taking off either the rest or maybe holding a little bit. But for right now, looks okay. Willing to give it a chance, and willing to give it a chance, of course. But I do think that there are a few interesting things going on in the charts right now, and I would like to see how much that hidden bullish divergence can kind of play us out right now. Likely, I'd say 10.6 is kind of like the obvious target for that, which we've gotten more or less close to. So with all of that said, I do want to wish you well on Thursday. It is Thursday. I just checked on my phone. It's Thursday. Happy Thursday. Hope you're having the best Thursday possible. I'll be back on tomorrow with some more video and live stream analysis. Very excited to see where this market kind of brings us tomorrow because, well, Jesus Christ, man, it's actually been really fun the last few days. Even with one of my trade ideas going against me. For the most part, we've had something to look at each and every new day especially on the lower time frames, and I do feel like the higher time frames are getting very, 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 very close to a resolution, probably in the next couple of weeks, I'd imagine. Anyways, with all that said, I do want to wish you well. I do want to wish you, as always, the best of the best and the happiest of the happiest. Take care and see you soon.